Welcome to Mission Control. I am your flight director for today's operation, and if you are tuning into this frequency, it means you are currently preparing for one of the absolute most rigorous academic launches of your entire educational career. We are talking about the Cambridge AS Level Afrikaans Language 8679 examination. Now look closely at your console displays right now. Today, we are initiating a full-scale exhaustive simulation to decode the precise structural parameters for the 2028 essay topics. Specifically, we are calibrating our telemetry to navigate the complex, highly volatile atmospheric conditions of three deeply interconnected themes. Those are young people, urban and rural life, and food and drink. This is not a casual review session, okay? This is a technical, hyper-focused, live-fire environment. We treat Cambridge syllabi like critical flight launch protocols that literally require zero margin for error. On your screen, you should be visualizing your launch propulsion meter. That's the gauge that tracks your mark yield from baseline passing bands all the way up to maximum elite tier scores. Strap in, check your digital time to launch clock, clear your visual arrays, and let's get ready to clear the launch pad with maximum propulsion. Okay, let's dive straight into this, because this quote, pulled directly from the official principal examiner report, is flashing in red across our main dashboard for a very, very specific reason. Achieving a baseline B grade is a lot like reaching low Earth orbit, right? It requires a decent amount of fuel, some basic structural integrity, and a general sense of direction. But hitting that A star, securing that elite tier, that requires a flawless, mathematically precise understanding of the exam's internal logic. The 2028 topics, young people, urban and rural life, and food and drink, are not just loose, random subject areas that you can passively read about. They are the exact, non-negotiable navigational coordinates that you must map your analytical skills onto in Afrikaans. If you misunderstand how these three topics interlock, for example, if you can't see the structural bridge between rural food scarcity and youth migration, your grade trajectory drops immediately. We are here today to ensure your structural blueprint is utterly flawless, so you never lose altitude on exam day. Here is the exact flight path we are locking into the navigation computer today. First, the assessment objectives. Then, the procedural framework. Third, mastering critical analysis. Fourth, top examiner warnings. And finally, your final exam strategy. Initiating Phase 1, the assessment objectives. Let's calibrate our system before we light the engines. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is that it entirely shifts how you should be viewing an Afrikaans language essay. Here in Mission Control, we don't treat essays like creative writing exercises. We treat them like advanced mathematical proofs. Examiners employ what we call the method mark strategy. What does that actually mean for you? It means you are awarded crucial propulsion marks simply for demonstrating the correct analytical process. Think about it like a telemetry screen, where the final destination ends up being slightly off, but the trajectory calculations to get there were completely flawless. Cambridge rewards the calculations. Even if your final conclusion about, say, the specific dietary habits of young people in urban areas misses the ultimate mark or lacks a certain nuance, if your process of comparing the data was structurally sound, you salvage massive points. You have got to show you're working on the page. You have to let the examiner see the gears turning in your flight deck. If you just give them the answer without the logic, your system fails. Let's break down the syllabus radar systems. Your examiners are actively tracking three distinct cognitive domains, and you need to feed all three to keep your launch stable. First, knowledge and understanding. This is your base fuel. Do you know the exact Afrikaans vocabulary for rural life, terms like platlandse lewe? Do you grasp the core themes of youth culture? But listen to me carefully, that only gets you off the ground. Next is analysis. This is your mid-flight booster. Can you break down exactly how urban infrastructure actively impacts the food choices available to a young professional? Finally, we have evaluation. This is the elite deep space thruster. Can you weigh these different factors, judge their relative impact, and form a concrete, highly objective, evidence-backed verdict on young people's lifestyles? Moving from a C to an A star means proving you can do more than just recall facts. It means proving you can evaluate them under intense pressure. A safe launch requires maximum thrust across all three of these sequential domains. To demonstrate exactly how crucial this is, let's run a live simulation. I am tuning into the comms channel right now to monitor our two hypothetical test pilots, Alex, our propulsion engineer, and Sam, our navigation specialist. They are both looking at a complex past paper question right now on the central viewing monitor, the target orbit profile. Alex comes on the comms and says, "Flight, I am overloading the writing blocks with textbook definition streams. I'm dumping 40 different facts about food and drink in South Africa right now to hit the word count." Alex is treating this like a raw fuel dump. He's prioritizing superficial breadth. But Sam immediately overrides the channel.
Alex, abort that trajectory. You are burning way too much energy and you're going to run out of time. The command word constraints don't ask for a list, they ask for an evaluation. We need to establish a direct analytical logic string to secure the high-tier marking bands before our time fuel hits 0. Sam is completely right. Instead of 40 random facts, Sam takes just 2 interconnected concepts, how urban migration specifically affects the traditional diets of young people, and drills down into the causal relationships. Sam is prioritizing analytical depth over superficial breadth. They are challenging the parameters and refining their paragraph layout live to perfectly match the examiner's compliance criteria. When you watch their telemetry, Alex's propulsion meter is redlining, wasting fuel. Sam's meter is locked in the green, coasting on the momentum of deep cross-topic connections. That depth is what stabilizes your flight and yields the highest possible marks.
Phase 1 is complete. We are now transitioning into Phase 2, the procedural framework, the actual step-by-step engineering of your essay.
Cambridge mandates an unshakable 5-step processing sequence. You cannot skip a step without risking total mission failure. Let's walk through this precise processing sequence. Step 1, identify the key elements in the prompt. What are the variables? Step 2, apply the relevant Afrikaans linguistic principles. But step 3, execute analysis with clear working. This is where the whole breaches happen. This is where flights explode. If you just jump from applying principles to step 4, verifying your results, without explicitly showing the examiner how you evaluated the source text, your propulsion meter flatlines. You must leave a trail of logic. And finally, step 5, present in the appropriate format. Missing a heading, writing a letter when they asked for an article, or using the wrong register is literally like deploying a parachute in the vacuum of space. It fundamentally ignores the environment you are operating in, and the examiner will fail the launch. Launch trajectory hold. Before we deploy this top-band paragraph structure to clear orbit and move into our critical analysis engine, we need to optimize your educational flight deck. Take a second right now, look at your console, subscribe to Ace the Exams, and enable all notifications. Hit that bell icon so it lights up vibrant yellow. You do not want to miss our weekly flight-tested exam hacks, whether you are launching at IGCSE, O-levels, or ASNA levels. Okay, telemetry is green. Let's get back to it. We've actually just encountered an unexpected structural data loss mid-paragraph on the simulation comms. Sam's evidence links are dropping, threatening a complete mission termination. I'm overriding the console right now to deploy a structural power-up framework to stabilize the text flow live. If 5 steps feel too bulky for your real-time processing during the exam, we condense it down to this 3-part core engine block. Deconstruct, solve, evaluate. First, deconstruct the text. If the prompt is about young people and food, what are the exact variables? Next, solve the comparative puzzle systematically using the Peel structure. Point, evidence, explanation, link. Sam is rewriting the response right now on the comms. My point is that urban youth consume more fast food. My evidence is the source text stat on convenience stores. My explanation is that longer commuting times reduce cooking hours. My link ties it directly back to the health impacts mentioned in the prompt. Flawless. Finally, evaluate the outcome. Which factor holds more weight? If you run every single paragraph through the specific deconstruct, solve, evaluate engine block, your trajectory will remain flawlessly on target.
We have successfully stabilized the paragraph. We are now escalating to the high-orbit phase of our explainer. Phase 3, mastering critical analysis. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact point where average standard descriptive answers stall out, while elite evaluative answers punch right through the atmosphere. The basic trajectory is purely descriptive. Let's look at pilot Alex's log again. Alex writes, the text states that urban life is faster than rural life and young people eat more fast food. That's a low-altitude observation. It just repeats data back to mission control. We already have the data, Alex. Now look at Sam's elite evaluative pathway, which transforms the standard answer into an analytical masterpiece. Sam writes, while the text assumes urban life universally dictates poor diets for young people due to fast food proximity, a deeper comparative look at the rural data reveals that food scarcity and lack of variety also drive poor nutrition, suggesting that economic status is a much heavier variable than mere geographical location. Boom! Absolutely incredible. Sam is actively questioning assumptions, pulling in different perspectives, cross-referencing the 2028 topics, and justifying every single decision with evidence. That is exactly the high-propulsion A-star trajectory that Cambridge examiners are desperately searching for.
When navigating the complex data between topics like young people and food or drink, you will constantly be asked to run comparative logic strings. To secure those top-tier marks, your radar must sweep these 4 specific structural checks. Rule 1. You must identify both similarities and differences. Finding differences is easy. Finding the hidden similarities is where the big marks live. Rule 2. You absolutely must use precise Afrikaans comparative connectives. Terms like in teenstelling met or on the other can't. These aren't just vocabulary words, they are the physical bolts that hold your logic together. Rule 3. Support every single point with text or table evidence, no unguided assumptions. And Rule 4, the most crucial. Draw a conclusion on their relative importance. Don't just compare them and walk away. Tell the examiner which factor ultimately pilots the ship.
Freeze the telemetry console. I need full attention right now. Phase 4, top examiner warnings. Let's look at the actual structural data losses that completely ruin standard flights.
I am now handing manual control over to you, the audience, for a live, interactive viewer controls arena challenge. Challenge 1, the visual radar sweep. I'm starting a digital 60-second visual countdown on the master clock in my head right now. I want you to imagine a complex source data chart, comment to Cambridge papers. Let's say it's tracking sugar consumption among rural youth versus urban youth. Where do candidates lose the most easy marks? Do they misread the chart? Do they lack the Afrikaans vocabulary to describe it? No. Let's move to challenge 2. Identify the logic malfunction. Imagine a flawed, medium-tier student response paragraph that says, urban youth eat more sugar, rural youth eat less sugar. Therefore, rural youth are healthier. I am using my digital indicator to highlight that exact line right now. Do you see the logic malfunction? The student dropped the overall score because they made a massive, unverified leap. Less sugar does not automatically equal better overall health if the rural youth are experiencing severe caloric deficits. The easy marks are lost not in the translation of words, but in the breakdown of structural precision and basic logical reasoning. It's rarely a lack of complex vocabulary that destroys an A-star run.
So, the crucial point is this. According to the principal examiner reports, these are the top 3 absolute worst system failures. Number 1, forgetting to include the proper format. If the exam command word asks for a formal report on rural life and you write a standard essay without the required headings, you hemorrhage critical structural marks. Number 2, failing to check presentation conventions. Messy annotations, entirely missing paragraphs, it completely scrambles the examiner's radar. They cannot grade what they cannot logically follow. And number 3, this is the fatal error that will trigger an immediate, catastrophic mission termination. Writing answers that are not specific to the given context. Listen to me. If you pre-memorized a brilliant, generic essay about young people and you force it into a prompt that is specifically asking about young people's employment rates in urban centers, your rocket is literally flying to the wrong planet. Even if the Afrikaans glamour is flawless, the examiner will zero out your score for irrelevance. Context is everything. Turbulence navigated. We have cleared the atmospheric drag and are preparing for final flight completion. Phase 5, final exam strategy. Let's synthesize this complex telemetry data. Here is your ultimate foolproof post-launch review checklist. As you write, you need to constantly cross-check this exact display. First, are you linking concepts? Remember, cross-topic connections are the secret booster for maximizing the final A-star propulsion meter. Weave the 2028 topics together seamlessly. Show how the pace of urban life directly dictates the food and drink choices of young people. Second, are you showing your working? Lay out your comparative logic clearly so the examiner can award those vital method marks. And third, let the specific context of the prompt drive the entire vehicle. I am looking at the main console right now. Alex and Sam have just confirmed a successful full-mark launch sequence. They applied the 3-step question scan to decode the prompt. They managed their fuel budget allocation so they didn't run out of time, and they ran this exact post-launch system review checklist. Their propulsion meters are absolutely peaking at a maximum A-star reading. Summit reached. You now possess the exact high-stakes examiner blueprint required to engineer a flawless essay response for the Cambridge AS-level Afrikaans 8679 exam. But listen to me, your flight training does not stop here. You need to optimize your exam command center right now. Hit that subscribe button for At the AC Exams, click the notification bell to secure your weekly grade masterclasses, and I want you to drop a comment below telling me exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCSE, O, AS, or A-level, you are preparing to conquer next. Let me know your target. This is your flight director signing off from Mission Control. Let's go out there and ace those exams.